What made you want to write about something that, is so personal?
Well, I mean, I've definitely been an open book for quite some time. Um, and it was one of those things where, I never truly wanted to be this open. It kind of, when everything happened with my ex and our past, it's like I didn't want our story to always be something that would come up in the headlines without us being able to change the narrative. So that's why I really was like, let's make this a positive spin about us trying to fight for our marriage. And, when that obviously crashed and burned, I think for me, it was one of those things where there was still a piece of me that I wanted to share certain stories that were important to me that I wanted to talk about. And I think it kind of makes sense with everything that I've gone through in my life. And I wanted to, because I remember how alone I felt when I got divorced. And I would have loved to have read a book like this, just knowing that someone else felt this exact same way. Because when you're going through it, you're like, I just kept saying over and over, like, I'm never, I'm not good enough. It's my fault. I'm never going to be loved again. It's over for me. And that's just not the truth. And that's
Hmm.
not the truth at any age. I had a friend going through a divorce, was in her mid 50s at the same time. And she's like, at least you're younger. Like, she's like, it's done for me. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like,
Right.
and now she's engaged and so happy. And so
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's never the end. And I think,
Hmm.
but when something like that happens, it's nice to know that it's not.
How do you think what was the process in shifting that mindset? And then, because so many people have stories, right? And like you're saying, we want to talk to ourselves like a great coach would
Mhm.
talk to us, right?
Yeah.
Like we talk to our daughters
Yeah.
and our children. How do you do that in real time?
So I think it's first identifying where it came from. So for me, I had to look at, all right, at what age was the earliest message that I received, I'm not good enough, or
Hmm.
that I'm not safe, or that I deserve abuse, or that, it's my fault. And so pinpointing it back to that moment where it first happened, and then all the other moments along the way. Okay, in this instance, when this happened, I felt X, Y, and Z, and then really, truly, again, doing some tough work and releasing that and speaking the truth into it. And that's something I
Hmm.
said to my daughter today too. My son was like, just being silly. And I go, Jolie, what is the truth? Like, the truth. Like, you don't
Hmm.
have to defend, why, why he's not a superhero. Like,
Right.
he's like not technically a superhero. So it's like, like, no, like, the truth. But the problem is we've been so programmed to believe what other people
Yeah.
think in their thoughts of us over our own that
Sure.
it's so muddled. And I'm like, because when I did get divorced, I was like, well, maybe I am the common denominator and it is my fault and I am the problem and I do ask for too much and I am this person that they say that I am. And
Hmm.
though there might be pieces to that, it's not who I am. And so
Sure.
I just identifying that and really letting those things go. But I mean, I had to do for me, what worked was doing the therapeutic, throwing the rocks and the
Uh-huh.
writing it into the stream. But and there's still times when I get, a little trigger moment, but then I'm like, all right, I always go back to what is the truth and
Hmm.
what's the message that's not real.
Where does the confidence come from in these moments so that you can show up strong?
Sure. I think for me, it took me writing like on sticky notes. Like I had a sticky note outside right when I was to go outside my master door. It said, "You can do this." And every
Love
day
it.
I'm like,
Love it.
I just seeing it like, "You can do this." And I'm like, for maybe 50 to 100 days, I didn't believe that sticky note. And then finally I was
Mm.
like, oh, I can do this. Like, I feel good. And so it's
Hmm.
almost like saying the thing over and over again. And I was always the person that I was like, oh, that's just so cheesy and it doesn't work. But I'm like, one day you just kind of believe it. You're
Yeah.
like, I do got this. Like, this didn't kill me. I'm okay. And I'm
Hmm.
going to get through this. And
Hmm.
so whether you believe it or not, and I've struggled with anxiety for years. And so sometimes it's like, again, it's being that friend to yourself and just like being your own like cheerleader and pep talking. And again, that sounds like so cheesy because when I heard that when I was in that state, I'm like, that doesn't work. But over time, it works.
What do you tell people who feel like, for whatever reason, they can't walk away, be it financial, what do you tell women that feel that way?
You know, and it's hard to say this because it's all, again, I'm not in that situation. I just think everything comes back to you, and you will be, like, there will be beauty in it, whether, and it's like, I would have moved my kids out and just all of us shacked up in a bed. I don't care. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's how bad I had to get out. Um, and so I think it's one of those things where it might feel like it's one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do. And, um, you might not know what or how you're going to do it, but the thing is as women too, and as just humans, like,
Sure.
we will always figure that, we will find a way. You will find a way, and like, it's just I just, it's so much more beautiful on the other side, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I wish I could write a whole chapter thanking my ex for, for doing the things he did, because I'm like, now it's like, whether I, obviously now I'm in a relationship, but even before, it's like, this is so much better, even just being alone, like
Mm-hmm.
the true happiness that you find with yourself, and not having to walk around in that tension, and how what it physically does to you too.
What do you tell somebody that's like, man, I don't know about this happily ever after thing, right? You say that, right? That you didn't think it was ever going to happen again. What do you tell somebody that it is possible and you will find that? Be happy with who you are, of course, but there is happily ever after. You're proof.
I mean, I believe in it, and again, I mean, I'm a glutton for punishment, but I truly do believe in it. And I think people that say that don't think that they deserve it, is kind of
Mm-hmm.
what I go to.
What's changed in how you think about happiness differently now?
Well, it doesn't equate to a man. It doesn't equate to the, picture perfect happy family. Like, I thought, that's something that, that's what I thought it was. It had to be a structured, home, and or, with the mom and dad. And it's like, well, now I see, I mean, how my fiance is with my kids, is the most beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think happiness is, everything that, well, first of all, I mean, it's everything, but it's also, again, something you deserve, but also it doesn't have to look the way that we grew up thinking it was supposed to look.
How do you chase joy every day? I mean, to me, joy is such an important word for all of us to have throughout our lives. How do you
Right.
do it now? How do you chase joy now? And how did you chase joy when things were a little crazy?
Yeah. I mean, I had literally forced myself to do it, then, and you realize how much fun it truly is, and how freeing it is, and the freedom you feel in it, and the joy that you feel in doing that. Nowadays, it's just, I think I've kind of changed it to gratefulness. Like, I'm just so grateful for it all. And with that is joy. Like, within gratefulness is joyfulness. And there's obviously tougher days, and schedules, this, that, and the other, whatever happens, but it all always falls back to, I'm blessed. I'm grateful that, I have my beautiful children. I'm able to do what I do, and um the end of the day, like, I'm just really freaking grateful to be alive. I know that's like
Mm-hmm.
super cheesy, but I mean, there are so many people that, like, it could end tomorrow. So I'm like, every day I'm just like, I really try to, at least wake up and say, like, I'm so grateful for today, because it's
Yeah.
like, it's just so short. And that's why I don't want negative energy. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want, like, to carry any of that stuff, because I'm like, what is that even for?
What are you most proud of when you reflect on your growth?
I would say that, I mean, I hated being alone. And I would say that I love the fact that I got to a place where I am comfortable being in that alone space.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm proud that I didn't settle the
Yeah.
next go around. And that I really dug in and did the work to really change the path for me and my kids.
Mm-hmm.